Watch out, it's a live mic.
This is Mark McNease in New York City, and you're listening to another edition of the Live Mic Podcast. Welcome to the podcast. This is Mark, and I'm excited to have on my recurring guest, herbalist and fabulous sister, Cathy McNease. Tonight we're going to talk about harmonizing with autumn. So, Cathy, how are you?
I am doing very well. Thank you so much for asking.
Are you harmonizing?
I love autumn. How about you? I am harmonizing with autumn. How about you?
I love it. I said to some people this morning, I started to say I posted on Facebook, but I know you're not on Facebook, that autumn is my time of renewal. For a lot of people, it's spring, and I do love the spring. But when that first cool air of autumn comes in, I just feel renewed, and I'm ready to do all kinds of fabulous creative things. It's a time of newness for me.
It is for many people. Yes, the autumn and spring are two pivot times of the year where we're shifting from, in the case of spring, from a predominantly cold season into warmer seasons, spring and summer. And then autumn is that pivot. Now we're going into the cooler and colder times of the year. And the energy of the autumn is, if you look at what the trees are doing, the tree's energy is moving inward. So it's not going to have the energy to keep the leaves on the tree, and they're going to drop. So as that energy moves inward, we can think about our own energy, and this is one of the biggest energetic mistakes that we make in our culture is from now until the end of the year, which is the time energetically we should be more inward, more reflective, more pensive, and many people start going the other direction, especially once we get to Halloween and then Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and so that we're at the beginning. We can set some good patterns right now to spend some time every day being reflective and looking inward, because that's the natural direction that our energy ought to be going right now.
Well, that's how
we're a week into autumn. What's the weather like in New York?
Oh, it's really fall-like. I love it. It was, but it's also it seems really quick. We had a really hot summer, like one of the hottest summers on record. And then within a matter of 2 weeks, the temperatures just went from, 90-something to the 70s, which is fine with me. But it just seemed like it happened really fast. And I noticed that it started getting dark earlier really quickly. I
noticed that as well.
I don't think it was my imagination. It was like, oh my God, it wasn't dark yesterday at this time. But also, and
since you brought the light up, I don't want to forget to mention that, which is, I discovered last year an incredible light that mimics the sun. Northern Light Technologies is the company, and I ordered it online. And starting in October last year, I would spend 10 to 15 minutes every morning when I'd get up with the light in my sight. I didn't look into it, but in my sight. And it made a huge difference in my depression that would normally occur during those darkening months of the year. So if there's any depressed people out there that are light sensitive, I highly recommend the light therapy. I was sort of skeptical. I'd known about it for decades, and then one of my patients told me what a remarkable improvement she saw in her bipolar mother's outlook. And anyhow, that's coming up pretty soon. We'll have a time change, and a lot of us are going to really notice the darkness.
Oh, that's right. And I've been sleeping later. I was getting up at 5 o'clock every day for a long time, writing and that sort of thing. And then I just sort of naturally started sleeping later, and I'm sure it's because it's dark later. But when the time changes, it's going to be light, or I can always get confused. When the time changes, it will be light earlier.
And it'll be dark earlier. The day gets shorter, so we get more dark on both ends.
Okay.
We have both longer nights, but we also have shorter days. So what stands out the most for me is when it's dark at 5:30. Like right now, it's around 7:30, I guess, when it's starting to get pretty dark. But that dark at 5 or 5:30 is pretty noticeable.
Now,
The other thing is the shift in the temperature. You said you've noticed that the weather is cooler. Here, it's really been hot in the day. We've had heat spells, like it's the weirdest weather for the last few months. But in the evening, ever since about maybe the third week of September, maybe a week ago or so, colder nights. So that's a really nice shift when I feel that cool. I know that the cooler weather is coming.
Now, what about in terms of eating? What should we be doing diet-wise as we move into the fall?
So as we move into the fall, one of the things to attend to is the lungs and the large intestines are the organs that are associated with the autumn. And the lungs are an active part of our immune system. So one of the things we'll see happen when fall comes is this is like the beginning of cold and flu season. So the better our respiratory system is, the healthier our respiratory system is, the less likely it's going to be vulnerable to the viruses and the flus that are going around. So some of the things that are important to think about for nourishing the lungs: be sure you're getting good protein. Poultry and fish are especially good. The light-colored meats are especially good for strengthening the lungs. And then root vegetables, which also harmonizes us with the season. And all sort of root vegetables, an assortment of root vegetables are going to have a sweet flavor, and that sweet flavor is going to be strengthening for the lungs. Mm-hmm. Some of the grains like barley and oats and rice are also going to be very nourishing for the lungs. So now that we're starting to get a little cooler weather, soups are going to be a part of many people's diets. So butternut squash soup and cream of carrot soup. I make that with steam the carrots and put them in the blender with a can of coconut milk.
Oh, okay.
And just season with a little salt, and it's very, very easy. So in the soups, when you cook a soup, there is a Chinese herb called astragalus. Astragalus is a root, and it stays woody. It doesn't dissolve in the soup, but it's a very good lung energy strengthening herb. And it's often used in conjunction with some sort of a soup, often a meat broth, and it helps strengthen the lungs, boost the immune system, and help your overall immunity.
Okay.
Nice flavor also.
All right.
The other organ in the fall that we're looking to be sure is healthy is the large intestine. The lungs and the large intestine have a relationship with one another. So the important thing with the large intestine is be sure you're getting adequate fiber foods, so plenty of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans so that you're pooping regularly. If there are digestive issues, then that can affect the respiratory system. So attending to making sure that the bowels are open and that no challenges are existing there can keep the lungs in better condition. There's a family of cooking herbs that we use to season our food that are seeds: fennel seed, anise seed, caraway seed, coriander seed. They're all in the parsley family. And those seeds you can make a tea from, and they're enormously helpful for gas and indigestion. And so if there's large intestine problems, making a tea from those seeds may be a helpful remedy at mealtime.
Why do they call fennel anise or anise?
Uh, Somebody was mixed up along the way because they're two distinct plants. They're in the same family. The flavor is similar, and the even bigger mistake that people make is when something is either anise flavored or fennel seed flavored, they think that that's the flavor of licorice, and that's not licorice.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the one who was confused because I will use recipes or see recipes that call for fennel, but then when I go to the grocery store, I almost never see fennel. I see anise.
And what they've done is mislabeled it. It's not anise, it's fennel root.
Okay.
It's a cultivated variety of fennel root. It's not anise root.
Okay. All right.
Anise is much more difficult to grow. Fennel is easy to grow, and fennel is a great plant to attract butterflies, especially swallowtails. I don't want to leave the fall talk without talking about grief. The emotions that are related to lung, large intestine, which is the metal element in Chinese medicine, grief and sadness. So it's not unusual when the energy is more focused in the metal energy this time of year to have grief come up, even if it feels like you processed it, you already cried your bucket of tears, but what are you doing crying about it again? Be gentle with yourself, because you're in harmony with the seasons. If you're having that sadness showing its face, and breathe your way through it, look at it, acknowledge it, and feel it. I think that's the most important thing. And keep breathing, as breathing is a way that we can let go of the emotions. Exhale through your mouth. Let go of whatever it is that is causing you upset.
Okay. Yeah, that's all resonating with me.
Good.
It seems
Let
to
me
be.
give one lung remedy. People maybe already had colds and flus. The change of weather is sometimes hard for people whose immune systems are compromised. And lemon and honey is a really good cough, throat, voice remedy. And the more dry the throat is, the more honey I use. The more dry the cough, the more honey. And you can just do lemon and water, but it needs to be warm water, not cold water. And very, very good for the throat and the lungs.
Okay.
In those early stages, if you feel like you're starting to get sick.
Well, I'm not. The cold will get here when it gets here. I'm not crazy about the cold, but I'm really glad the heat's gone, at least in this part of the country, because the heat just really screws me up. We just
The heat screws me up too. It makes me so cranky and hopeless.
Yeah, it's weird. We
It's like my life force gets dried up, and all I can see around me is negative.
Yes.
It's not a good place. Yeah, it's not a good place when it's so hot. So I understand.
We had brunch today at a place called the Full Moon in Lambertville, New Jersey. And tonight is the supermoon. Are you going to be able to see it, or do you care?
I can't. I tried to see it last night. I thought I might be able to see something. I didn't really, but I did see it come up. It comes up right in my front porch. My front porch faces east. So I have a ringside seat.
I'd love a picture. I think the next one they said is in 18 years. I'm not. Who knows who will be around to see that?
Yeah, 33.
18 years from now.
18 years, gee. 18. Well, time will tell.
Cathy, it's been another good health chat. We have these about once a month. And, it's good to talk about the autumn, my favorite time of year. And just learn, how to harmonize with it, as you said. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
By the way, I ran your autumn column the other day. I put that back
good.
up. So, I was harmonizing with autumn, harmonizing with Cathy McNease.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that.
Okay. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk again.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye, Mark.